Suddenly, a golden liquid was poured on my face. For a moment, I couldn't understand what had happened. I instinctively closed my eyes before the beer entered them, but some still got in. What entered my ears as I closed my eyes was the loud laughter of the new employee. "Kyle, I'm invincible no matter what I do. My dad's a member of mafia." As I searched for a handkerchief, Kimberly handed one to me. With some beer having gotten in my eyes, I was unable to find a handkerchief myself. "Mason, you okay?" "Yeah, I'm fine. Thanks." I pressed the handkerchief to my eyes and waited until I could open them. Everyone around was in an uproar, with only Kyle laughing. Once I was able to open my eyes, I calmly stood up. "What mafia you from? Call him over right now." "Huh?" If the other party was from the same business, I wouldn't hold back either. "My name is Mason Smith. I'm a 31-year-old businessman working at Stellar Markets. 8 years have passed since I joined the sales department after graduating college. I've made efforts ever since joining this company that took a chance on me after I kept getting rejected during job hunting. Perhaps thanks to that, I've now been promoted to assistant manager and am dating my coworker Kimberly with the premise of marriage. So from an outside perspective, you could say my life is going well. These days there's a trend that hard work doesn't pay off, but I don't think that's true. Since results do come out, I believe it's better to make what efforts you can." That's what I thought. But very recently, there was an incident that taught me that there are some things in this world you just can't do anything about, no matter how hard you try. On a certain day in April, when I entered my 8th year with the company, Section Chief Thompson gathered everyone in the section to begin introducing the new employee assigned to the sales department. "This is Kyle Johnson, who's joining our section starting today. Everyone, please give him your support. I'm Kyle Johnson. Nice to meet y'all." What an unmotivated greeting. I've seen plenty of new employee greetings, but this is the first time I've seen one with so little enthusiasm. However, Section Chief Thompson didn't scold him for it. Furthermore, he looked at me with a huge smile and said this: "Well then, I'll leave Kyle's training to you, Mason." "Huh? Me?" I unintentionally let my voice out at the sudden nomination. New employees are assigned a trainer, but normally the person in charge is informed of this beforehand. However, I hadn't heard anything like that from Section Chief Thompson. "That's right. You're an assistant manager now, so you should be used to having subordinates, right?" "Well, yes, but this is also an experience. I'm counting on you, Mason." Section Chief Thompson patted me on the shoulder. There he goes again. Section Chief Thompson will occasionally make on-the-spot decisions like this. As a result, the employees in the section often get jerked around, troubled by it. "It'll be fine, Mason. I'll support you as much as I can too," Kimberly whispered to me from the side. Kimberly is my same-age coworker I met when I was assigned to this section. Now I've become an assistant manager, but when the two of us talk, we're equals. "Yeah, thanks, Kimberly." I stepped forward to greet Kyle. "I'll be in charge of your training starting today. I'm Mason. Nice to meet you." I gave my greeting, but there was no response from Kyle. Thinking he might not have heard me, I raised my head. Kyle gave me a momentary look as if he was looking down on me, then immediately went back to a neutral expression. "Nice to meet ya." "Ha ha ha, I'll be counting on you." Section Chief Thompson laughed, but no matter how you look at it, this wasn't a laughing matter, right? I had a vague intuition that this new employee wasn't going to be easy to deal with. After the morning meeting ended, I had to teach Kyle his job duties right away. It was work I had also been taught by my colleagues in the past. First, I taught him how to answer the phone. First is how to pick up the phone. When I looked at Kyle, who wasn't responding, he was messing with his cell phone, ignoring what I was saying. I immediately felt that training was necessary and decided to tell him as gently as possible. "Kyle, even if this is a training period, it's still work hours. Let's stop playing with your phone, okay?" I know that without you telling me. Isn't this a waste of time?" "A waste?" I was baffled by what Kyle said. He had just joined the company today. If you join a company, you have to do your job. Even just answering the phone is different depending on who's on the other end. Then, can you answer it properly? It's different from answering a regular phone, you know. Isn't it too much of a big deal just for answering the phone? I don't want to do something that annoying. Now listen here. I inwardly sighed at his terrible attitude. I've seen plenty of new employees before, but this is the first time I've seen one with such a bad attitude. I endured it, but decided to scold him. Kyle, you came here to work, right? Then that attitude won't do. Huh? What do you know about me when we just met? If you've been assigned here, we need you to become a capable worker as soon as possible. So I want you to listen carefully to what I'm saying. I tried to reason with him as much as possible. These days people are strict about these things, so I had to be very careful. However, what Kyle said next surprised me even more. You're annoying. You better not look down on me too much. My dad's a member of mafia, you know. Huh? What are you suddenly saying? I hadn't told the people in the section, but that's also why I was a notorious delinquent in middle and high school, and I was kinda famous in the area. If you piss me off, there's no telling what I'll do. Kyle said that and started laughing triumphantly. These days, bragging about being a delinquent isn't trendy, and if it was true, you'd want to hide it, especially from your family. Especially if the other person is an upstanding citizen. As Kyle and I were glaring at each other, I heard a voice from behind me. Sorry Mason, can I borrow Kyle for a sec? I think she was there at the morning meeting. I turned to look and saw Kimberly holding a large box full of things. Kyle passed by me and headed towards Kimberly. Kyle, can you help me out for a bit? Oh, okay. I'm coming. His attitude from earlier was nowhere to be seen as Kyle spoke to Kimberly with a smile. Kimberly winked at me slightly. For now, I decided to cool my head and consult with Section Chief Thompson. And that's how it is. So could you please say something to him too, Chief? It's his first time too, so could you try a little harder? Even if you say that. The section chief clearly took an attitude of not wanting to get involved in the trouble. Even though I consulted with him because Kyle wasn't listening to me. No matter how many times I asked, he just kept repeating the same kind of response. Mason, Kimberly sure is pretty. Huh? Oh yeah, she is. Kyle returned in high spirits for some reason. It seemed he had taken a liking to Kimberly through helping her out. I felt uneasy seeing him like that. I fell in love with Kimberly at first sight. I'll definitely make her my girlfriend. What? I'm pretty cool, so I think it'll go well. Hey, what did this guy really come to the company for? And of all people, he's going after my girlfriend. No matter what, I couldn't keep quiet about this. I hate to interrupt when you're getting all excited, but Kimberly is my girlfriend. We're dating with the premise of marriage. I clearly stated this since there was no way I could back down on this matter, but Kyle actually said this while looking down on me with a laugh. Huh? A boring guy like you is with a beauty like that. Well, it doesn't matter who her boyfriend is. I can do it. No, before that, you need to learn how to do your job first. Even when I tried to bring a conversation back to work, Kyle didn't listen at all. I'm stronger than you. I'll steal her away at the upcoming welcome party for new employees. I've got more appeal as a man. He seemed to be completely obsessed with Kimberly. It was astonishing. Kyle seemed to have a lot of confidence, smirking nastily. After that, I struggled with training Kyle. There was a welcome party for new employees this Friday, but I didn't feel like welcoming him at all. Mason, good work. You doing okay? Yeah, somehow. After work, Kimberly and I were at a restaurant near the company. Kimberly always arrives right on time, but she was a little late today. Sorry I'm late. I meant to leave early, but did something happen? Kyle was waiting in front of the company. He kept insistently inviting me to dinner. Kimberly ate the pasta that had been brought over, looking worn out. She was smiling, but she looked a bit tired. That guy said I'm busy and left without doing his job properly, but he was waiting for you. He was in plain clothes, so I think he went home first. I managed to shake him off somehow. I clearly told him we were dating, though. I told him too. I clearly said I like Mason, but he wouldn't listen, saying I'm more suitable for you. As I watched Kimberly puff out her cheeks, I also scooped up the shrimp pilaf that had been brought. I had to admit his mental fortitude was impressive, persistently going after someone who had turned him down. But with guys like that, you have to clearly reject them or they'll be persistent. That's true. I'll clearly tell him off too if anything happens at the welcome party this week. Let's sit together to spite him. I'm hesitant to do it in front of everyone, but I guess there's no choice. Everyone in the section already knows about us. Kimberly and I decided that and parted ways for the night. There was no way I could just silently watch a man go after my own girlfriend. It could progress to stalking if we're not careful. On Friday night, with everyone in the section participating, there was no way I could skip it. So despite my reluctance, I attended the welcome party for the new employee. The seating order was completely random, but Kimberly came to sit next to me. She had listened to my complaints after work, but it had been a while since we drank together. Mason, good work this week too. Yeah, thanks. You too, Kimberly. You seem to be having a really tough time. I can tell even from the sidelines. Kimberly passed me the beer that had been brought over. Although she acts professionally at work, she's actually quite bold. Well, everyone in the section knows we're dating, so they don't pay it any mind. Ever since I asked him to help carry some things, that guy has been constantly coming after me. Really. When I left work a bit late, he was waiting at the entrance. He won't stop following me around. Kimberly drank her beer with a troubled look on her face. She's not showing it in her attitude, but she seems to be under a lot of stress. Is that why your replies to my messages were delayed? That's right. I got tired of rejecting his invitations too. Sorry. No, it's not your fault, Kimberly. As long as you don't cheat on me. There's no way I'd cheat. We've been together since joining the company. As a boyfriend, and as best friend too. Hearing that from Kimberly, I felt relieved inside. Kimberly and I have also been friendly rivals at work ever since joining the company. That's exactly why we were able to become romantic partners like this. I'm happy to hear you say that too. I feel like I can keep working hard next week. I also downed my beer. It's tough, but I thought I had to do my best for Kimberly's sake too. But at that moment, liquid was suddenly splashed on my face. Eek. Mason. This whole time I've been watching you flirting right in front of me. I tried to look in the direction of the voice, but the fist stung my eyes and I couldn't see. From Kimberly's voice, it sounded like everyone around us was in an uproar. Kimberly, why didn't you pour beer for me too? Suddenly, a golden liquid was poured on my face. For a moment, I couldn't understand what had happened. I instinctively closed my eyes before the beer got in them, but some still got in. What entered my ears as I closed my eyes was the loud laughter of the new employee. Kyle, I'm invincible no matter what I do. My dad's a member of mafia. Kimberly handed me a handkerchief. With some beer having gotten in my eyes, I wasn't able to find a handkerchief myself. Mason, you okay? Yeah, I'm fine. Thanks. I wiped my face with the handkerchief and waited until I could open my eyes. Everyone around was in an uproar, with only Kyle laughing. Once I was able to open my eyes, I calmly stood up. What mafia you from? Call him over right now. Huh? If the other party was from the same business, I wouldn't hold back either. I didn't want to resort to this, but I decided to reveal my true identity. Dude, I got no beef with ya, but if you keep this up, I ain't gonna show mercy either. What? Huh? Kyle seemed completely confused by what I was saying. The alcohol apparently worn off. He had been drinking beer since we sat down, so he must have been drunk too. But that didn't mean I could let him off the hook. The section chief called out to me, looking perplexed. Mason, chief, I asked you many times to warn him, but you never did, right? So let me make this clear. Kyle was also starting to look less confident. Who the hell are you? I had avoided bringing up my family until now, but this was unforgivable. Kimberly also laughed wryly while looking at Kyle. So, dude, what mafia are you from? I'm with the famous Century City family around here. My dad's the underboss. What a coincidence. I'm also with the Century City family. And I'm the boss's son. What? Kyle was looking at me with a face of disbelief. I didn't really want to say this kind of thing, but this time I had no choice. You're lying. A boring guy like you. It's true. You want me to show you proof, but you don't have tattoos or anything. These days it's a hassle in various ways, so there are mafia who don't get tattoos. As I explained, Kyle's face visibly paled. Everyone else seemed surprised by my intensity too, and no one interjected. Kyle, what he's saying is true. I've seen it myself. Is it really true? but the current me has no relation to the mafia and is working. I have my father's permission, and although my family is a mafia, I have no intention of inheriting the mafia. I've discussed it many times with my father, the boss, and gotten his understanding. So, here's the main point. But I've never heard of the underboss having a son like you. You just don't know about it. No, the underboss and my dad are still close even on a personal level. That guy is still single because he doesn't know how long he'll live. I pictured the face of the Century City family's underboss. He has scars on his face, but he's truly kind to me and to civilians. He's even said he's devoting his life to the mafia. I've never once heard he has a son. That's a lie. I'm his secret child. You just don't know. Then what's the underboss's name? His contact info. You'd have it if he was your dad, right? That's based on him not giving an answer right away. He probably really didn't know. And yet he publicly claimed to have ties to the mafia. I decided to deal another blow. Also, you were bragging about being a delinquent in middle and high school, but that's not cool these days. Huh? Even if you brag about your family being mafia and you being a delinquent in middle and high school, it has nothing to do with now. If it was really true, you'd want to hide your past. I said this to admonish him. Even if it was my family, the current me has no ties to the Century City family. I hadn't even told Kimberly about this until we started dating. TCH, that's the kind of thing I can stand. Kyle, you acting all goody-goody despite coming from the mafia. That's what I can stand. Kyle continued to stubbornly cling on. If he had shown remorse here, I would have let everything slide. In the first place, I don't get how a plain guy like you is dating the pretty Kimberly. Don't girls like bad boy types? You know, that's something high school girls at best might be into. Kimberly opened her mouth, looking disgusted. She had stayed quiet until now, but she seemed angry that I was insulted. But I heard some celebrity's high school boyfriend was like that. That's just their personal taste, right? Not everyone likes guys like that. Even if their boyfriend rides a motorcycle around, he's nice to them so. So like I said, that's just talking about people who are into that. I hate guys who don't do their job properly and only do that kind of stuff. Kimberly rarely gets angry, but she firmly speaks her mind. This side of Kimberly is what made me fall for her. And is there any guarantee a guy who's violent to others won't be like that to his girlfriend? Maybe some people are into that, but at least I hate it. At Kimberly's words, Kyle looked completely crestfallen. It seems to stink quite a bit coming from the person he likes. That's how it is, Kyle. Kimberly always comes to see me. Last night too. So in other words, I can't return your feelings. I'm already dating Mason. Kimberly added to my statement. I wondered if I went a bit too far, but I figured he wouldn't get it unless we were this direct. Actually, this was also a plan Kimberly and I had agreed on beforehand. Mason, isn't that going a bit too far? Thompson. He didn't approach Kimberly with ill intent. You didn't have to say that much. Section Chief Thompson said while sweating nervously. Even at this point, was he still trying to say don't cause problems? Amazed, I decided to make Section Chief Thompson rethink things too. With all due respect, Chief, I talked to you about Kyle too, right? But you barely took it seriously and never gave him guidance, right? Did you really think of him as a member of the section? I mean, these days, people are very strict about that kind of compliance, you know. Section Chief Thompson looked at me with a troubled face. Certainly, those things have been emphasized recently, and upper management is probably keeping a close eye too. However, that's different from not giving any guidance at all. I understand not wanting to cause trouble, but you can't turn a blind eye to problems. That's certainly true. But if you avert your eyes from problems, it'll eventually lead to big issues. That's right. And I don't think it's good to push all the training onto just Mason. He'll eventually become a capable member of the section, so we have to raise him properly. At our words, Section Chief Thompson fell completely silent with a guilty look on his face. Normally it takes courage to advise your superior, but you have to firmly say what needs to be said. The other employees in the section looked surprised, but also had understanding expressions. Now then, Kyle, if you properly reflect on this, I won't do anything more. The current me has no ties to the mafia. Me neither. I want you to properly become a capable member. Screw that. Just when I thought he would show remorse, his face was now bright red. Redder than when he was drunk. Screw you. Why won't you choose me? Kyle. There have been girls who dumped other guys just to date me. Why am I losing to a plain guy like you? Kyle grabbed a mug full of lemon sour next to him and tried to throw the contents at Kimberly. It was so sudden that no one could stop him. I quickly shielded Kimberly and took the lemon sour on my back. Kimberly, you okay? Yeah, I'm fine, but what about you, Mason? I'm okay. At least it's better than getting it on my face. I felt the sting of the fizz on my back, but it's better than getting it on my face. My jacket and shirt got wet, but I can deal with that later somehow. I was relieved that nothing happened to Kimberly. Kyle, enough already. Shut up. You rejected my invitation, so lemon sour on your face suits ya. Kyle continued to spew abuse, and I was about to lose my patience. However, there was someone unexpected who got angry before me. Kyle, you tried to throw a drink in a woman's face, didn't you? Thompson. I looked at Chief Thompson's face in surprise. In contrast to his indecisive attitude until now, he was just as angry as Kyle, if not more. Huh? What's up with the wimpy chief who was too scared to say anything to me getting pissed? You're right. I may be a wimp, but I absolutely cannot forgive anyone who hurts a woman. Chief Thompson stood up as he said that. Chief Thompson always brought a loving wife's lunch to work. I had heard that he and his wife got along well. The chief cherished his wife, so he probably couldn't forgive Kyle's actions towards Kimberly. The chief confronted Kyle further. You haven't forgotten that you're still in your probationary period, have you? Huh? What are you? In other words, if your attitude is unacceptable at this stage, we'll have to consider terminating your contract during the probationary period. This is the only way for everyone in the section to make amends. At Chief Thompson's words, I felt surprised but also happy. Even though I had prefaced it, I was anxious about expressing my opinion to my superior. But now I felt glad that I had told him. Mason, Kimberly, and everyone in the section. I'm sorry that my cowardice caused this, but I truly love my wife, and I cannot forgive anyone who hurts a woman. So I'll do my job and take this opportunity. Don't go deciding things on your own. I became a full-time employee. You can't just fire me that easily. In response to Kyle's backlash, Chief Thompson explained with a resolute attitude. I believe I said you're in your probationary period, and Mason and Kimberly have been harmed. We really can't overlook this. Perhaps Chief Thompson had been afraid to criticize Kyle due to the recent emphasis on compliance. Also, about you throwing beer on me, that's straight up a crime, you know. Huh? Throwing drinks on someone can be considered assault. I chimed in too, seizing the opportunity. I had seen that mentioned when I briefly looked up laws online before. Well, I never thought I'd be the one getting it thrown on me though. And you tried to throw lemon sour on me too, right? I think you'll have to pay for the dry cleaning. Oath. Perhaps finally realizing the gravity of his actions from Kimberly's words, Kyle turned pale. If he had properly reflected on it, I had planned to let this slide. But it was too late now that he had done this much. The time when you could be forgiven because you're a kid is long gone. You got any proof? Just testimony isn't. There are security cameras here. Those will serve as evidence, Chief Thompson said, pointing at the ceiling. Kyle slumped his shoulders and sat down on the spot as he looked up. Once you experience it for yourself, you'll understand the gravity of it. However, Kyle still seemed to be a sore loser. Damn it, like I'm gonna let myself get caught by the cops. No way. Kyle slipped past the table with nimble movements and tried to leave the pub. I immediately chased after him and grabbed the arm of Kyle, who was running towards the entrance. Let go. Being a sore loser to this extent isn't admirable. It's pointless to run. Right, I'm definitely gonna get away. Forget the police. What do you think will happen if I tell the mafia about this? I had no choice but to resort to my trump card. If I were to tell my family about this, the Century City family would use all their power to hunt him down. Even though I'm not inheriting the mafia, maybe because I'm the boss's son, everyone in the mafia was kind to me. If that happens, you might face worse than getting caught by the police. Eek. Kyle seemed to have lost the will to run away and sat down on the spot. Afterwards, Kyle was taken away by the police that Kimberly called. Later, the pub staff who heard the commotion also submitted the footage, and Kyle ended up getting arrested. At the same time, he was fired from the company for disciplinary reasons and is apparently behind bars now. By the way, according to his parents who came to apologize the next day, he wasn't even a delinquent in middle and high school, and he became like that around the time he entered college and had his coming-of-age ceremony. I was curious what in the world happened at his coming-of-age ceremony, but I decided not to think about it since there was no point in pondering it further. I at least hope Kyle will become a bit more decent by the time he gets out. As for me, I've continued working as usual since then. I'm considering marriage with Kimberly, so I plan to save up a bit more for that. I wasn't sure how things would turn out when I was job hunting, but I'm grateful to this company for hiring me. Chief Thompson has also become someone who properly warns people when necessary ever since that day. I heard that at his previous workplace, he was almost sued when he warned his subordinate. That's why he had apparently become timid about giving warnings. Now, Chief Thompson has become a reliable superior, and as I feel that hard work truly pays off, I go to work today as well.